Welcome to the We Are All God podcast, where the inner journey is simplified. I'm Erin Werley.
And I'm Philip Werley.
And you are more powerful than you've ever imagined. So there is one thing that I see pretty much all manifestation teachers, law of attraction teachers missing.
What's that?
Well, it's something that I am made very, very clear during the months when we were getting One Truth, One Law, I Am, I Create, ready for publication.
Okay.
Every day, I Am would talk to me about this. And as I Am talked to me about it, I felt it in my body. I felt it moving through me. I felt the truth of it. And I knew that this was the thing that I hadn't been able to hold all of the years before when I was afraid to publish the book.
Okay.
That a switch had been flipped in me and I could hold it. And it's this. It is the switch from asking what the universe can create for you to asking what you can create for the universe. Okay? Asking, how do I get the universe, God, source to give me stuff I want? Is where we all start on the manifestation journey, on the spiritual journey as well. When we find out that this world is all make-believe, it's all an illusion, and there's so much magic and miracles available to us, we're like, gimme, how do I get? Right? Yeah. Gimme some more.
How do I get the good stuff? I want the good life.
Yeah, I want the good life. That's it. Exactly. Right. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being there. And the universe is going to give you some rewards there to keep you going. But the big stuff, the stuff that you feel deep in your heart and you know is truly meant for you, that comes when you make the switch and you start thinking about, how can I take the gifts within me, the blessings that I've received, and share that with others. And I want you to just suspend disbelief for a moment here and understand when I say the blessings that you've been given. I don't mean you need to have millions of dollars and tons of time to start giving blessings to others. But you do have to have some inner healing done first, because how it works for all of us is we are born. Then we are programmed to believe we're not good enough, that we are lacking, that we are not whole, that we are not God source embodied. We are an individual who, despite, the parents doing the best they can, essentially we got to figure life out on our own. That's where we start. And there's all sorts of things, because our parents are also coming from this unwhole version of themselves that they can't give to us, no matter how well-intentioned they are, no matter how much they desire to. They, in most cases, haven't healed themselves and come back to wholeness, so they can't give that to us. And so we become shattered, fractured versions of who we're meant to be. So then what happens is, we are spiritually awakened at some point on our journey. And boom, okay, veil lifted, world's make-believe. Okay, all right, I get it, sort of. A little confused, a little bit get it. Go in and out to varying degrees every day on that spectrum. Okay, now what? So then we're like, gimme. But what we should actually be saying is, heal me. Return me to wholeness. Because if we still feel fractured, we're not ready to give. We must, to a degree, feel that we have given ourselves the things that the parents and the grown-ups in our life could not give us, which is why you're being led to the piano lessons and to the drawing lessons, two things your parents could not hold you having. And that's your return to wholeness, to who you really are as a spiritual being here on earth. You're giving yourself now, at 41 years old, the things that your parents could not give you as a child. And you're bringing yourself back into wholeness through that process.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why you can't hold the book yet. Because you have to first come back. And it doesn't have to be perfect wholeness. But it has to be, I know now that I can give myself the things that weren't given to me when I was a child, that weren't given to me a year ago. I know that those things are within me to give myself. When you come to this place, then you're ready to make the switch to, okay, how do I create now something that gives to others and that isn't about me, that puts my ego in the back seat and gives to others? But so many teachers will teach, give to others. And that just creates more of what was created as a child, you not getting what you need. So there are steps to the process. Step 1, recognize that you weren't given things that you needed when you were younger. Step 2, ask yourself, how can I give that to myself now? Step 3, understand that you have the powerful ability to change your own life experience. Step 4, share with others in whatever way is right for you based on the gifts you've received through healing yourself. Share with others to assist them on their life path, whether that's writing a fiction book that lights them up. And because it flowed through from your soul and God within you, has all kinds of secret hidden meanings that will help open and awaken them, right? That you didn't even have to think about, that were just put there by the universe. Little Easter eggs hidden by the universe, right? But if we want to do the thing now that gives to others, so many people want to do this. I want to open up a charity. Have you healed yourself yet? No, then you can't hold the space for the others. You think that giving to others will heal you. That's if you've already healed yourself. So if we don't understand this, manifestation looks wonky and blah, 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 blah. So if we have not given to ourselves what our parents couldn't give to us, then manifesting the car, the house, the partner, whatever it is, does not feel fulfilling. Nothing will feel fulfilling until we give to ourselves what our parents couldn't give to us.
It's like sticking a Band-Aid on top when it's still like
Yeah,
damaging you.
I like that.
Okay. So like when you say ask God to heal you, what does that look like?
Okay, it looks like, and I like to describe the moment as you're on the kitchen floor and you've got 6 bags of potato chips and cookies open, and you notice that you've gone through all of them and you've got tears streaming down your face and you're just a complete mess. You have shattered in half. Now, interestingly, even though I like to describe this sort of hitting rock bottom moment as that wasn't what mine looked like. I've never actually been sitting on the kitchen floor surrounded by that, but I did spend years surrounded by food like that. So it's interesting. But anyway, the point is you're going to hit rock bottom about something. And you're going to be in a puddle on the floor or on your bed and not know how to pick yourself up. And you're going to feel alone. Like, what do I do? I don't know how to handle this. And you have 2 options. You can start Googling. You've done that before, looking for solutions. Or you can say, no. God, I hear that you're somewhere in there. I hear that you're in my heart or in my head. Right? Okay, well, what do I do? Most of us don't ask for guidance unless we're at a low. And that's okay. That's all right. That's why the lows are brought to us, to give us the opportunity to crack open and find the light that's really within. So next time you're experiencing something that feels difficult, instead of scrolling, trying to distract yourself, or asking your best friend what you should do, allow yourself to recognize that God's source within you is cracking you open to let the light shine, to let you find where the answers really have always been. Everything you've actually always been looking for. Even the lows are happening for us. So recognize next time you're in a low, okay, ask God. Even if you've never heard God before, even if you've never felt God before, ask when you're in a low, and you're going to be very, very, very surprised, because that's when you're most open to receiving. And that might feel crazy and not true, but have you tried it? You'll be surprised. So that's what it looks like.
Let me ask you when people are at their low, it's like when I were in basic training that they told us, we have to break you down so we can build you back up, and it's kind of like maybe God's doing that to people. Like, I'm going to break you down so that maybe you finally start looking where you're supposed to looking instead of looking outward, look within. But like when we go within and we ask for guidance, we've never done this before. How is that going to show up for people? Because for you, it's like, it's very quick. Like you hear it, but somebody's new to this, it might not show up right away.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, that we don't give God, source, the universe enough credit for knowing when we need it. We don't give it the credit. And we assume just because we've tried this one or two times that when we really need it, we're going to be alone. And that's that unhealed part of you that felt alone as a child when you needed comfort, you needed support, and it was, shut up, you, go in your bedroom, leave me alone. Okay? So it's just the unhealed part of you assuming that things are going to be the way they've always been. So recognizing, first of all, this isn't true. It's a program or a belief that's running in your subconscious mind. So distancing yourself from that belief that I'm alone, that the universe doesn't surround me and support me, that it won't, maybe it'll come for Erin and other people like her when they call, but it won't come for me. We want proof and evidence before we invest our time in things. And your faith becomes your evidence. Your faith in something that maybe you haven't experienced before. It turns into evidence the more that you show up with it consciously. I believe even though I don't yet see. The more that you make this your subconscious programming, the more the evidence piles up and you're like, where did all this come from? Magic and miracles? What? How did I walk into this? Your faith in the unseen, in the unexperienced, will become your evidence. So, for me, the truth is I was not born with my psychic gifts activated. I was born scared and small. I had zero self-confidence. I did not believe that life could get better or much different for me. When we met, I was a waitress, and I was excited to make $100 4 or 5 days a week. And I was 28 years old. And you showed me that God was real. And my mind blew open. I didn't know that God was inside of me. That never would have occurred to me. But what did happen was we hit a low. We were in Virginia Beach, and we could not keep those jobs. Mm-hmm. And we were going to be out of money in a few months. And I felt desperate. And then you showed me the movie The Secret. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is it. Okay, great. Like I felt such an inner pull to that, to this law of attraction idea, right? And it was so cool. Like we were manifesting parking spots, like right, left, and center. Like I could manifest these little things, but I was not manifesting the money that we needed to come to a place where the physical world felt safe. And so I would look at that time while there were a lot of good things happening then. It was very much a time of low and depression for us. We were living in that beautiful apartment that was a block from the beach, but we didn't go to the beach at all. And I love the beach because I did not feel good about myself. And it was from this place that I started opening up space within every day and setting the intention. I didn't know God was inside of me, but I was setting the intention that the wisest being, I said, I want the wisest being to come and explain to me how to make the law of attraction work. And when I am came to me, which is, I got God's source because my intention was specific that I wanted the wisest being. So I got the top of the heap. I got the one who created all the others. And when that happened, it's because through that 30-day period of all this low and depression, I opened up the space within and I asked for it every day. So you're right, it didn't come through immediately, but I would also say that that period was more of a slow burn of depression, that 30 days, and I fully trust that had it been one of these rock bottom moments, that God would have shown up for me immediately. So I think
so.
you have, I do. I do. Because the rock bottom moments, the moments where you don't know how you get back up off the floor, those are different from the slow burn of depression. It is. It's like, and the rock bottom moment is the universe saying, now, ask now, because we are God embodied, which means God's not going to come to you. Higher dimensional beings that are tasked with assisting humans, like the angelic realm, they're not coming to you unless you ask to receive them, because they honor your free will as God embodied. My knowing is so deep and so strong that when we ask for higher dimensional assistance, for the assistance of God, it comes. The problem is that most of us have not had these experiences that allow us to build our belief in the unseen world that is all around us and through us. But whether your belief has been built yet or not, it exists, it's there, and it is simply waiting for you to ask. And holding the space for it, holding a space of nothingness so that you can receive. And to do that, you've got to learn to essentially have awareness of all the thoughts that are running through your mind all day long that you aren't even aware of. Because if they're crowded in there while you're trying to hold space, there is no space.
So when you say hold space, like, how would you define holding space? Because I think most people would be like, what does that mean?
Well, first, let me tell you, the more space that you can hold, the easier all the magic and miracles flow to you. So holding space is like the thing. It's like the goal. It's like the highest expression of you. Holding space means you're able to hold your mind empty without other subconscious thoughts. So it's being a conscious creator. And you're creating a space of nothingness. But it's not the same thing as forcing your thoughts away. It's a space of, I'm holding space. I'm holding this space of nothingness, but I'm also aware. Are things coming in? Is this a thought from my subconscious mind? Okay, moving that out. Is this a higher thought coming from God? Okay, listening and asking for more information. It's an incredible awareness over the thoughts in your mind. This comes with practice. But like you experienced when we were driving and the car was almost hit by a giant tire, um, when you need God the most, God will come through loud and clear, whether you have a practice of holding space or not. So don't let that hold you back if you're in a rock bottom moment or even a low moment of slow burn of depression. Don't let that hold you back. Start asking right away. And especially if you're in a moment where things are feeling great, call God in, make it better.
So, what's the difference between holding space and, like you're saying, and pushing your thoughts away? What's the difference? Because it sounds the same to me.
The difference is subtle, but so important. So I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you. So holding space is going to first look like having awareness of all the thoughts in your mind. And this takes time. So it's not pushing anything away. It's just listening. Okay, what am I thinking about? Which is what I have you doing right now, right? Just being aware. And so far you're the point where you're aware of.
Million thoughts come, like you have no idea.
Yeah.
Just how many thoughts, like where do they come from? It's
Yeah.
random stuff and just hitting you nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you are. So and you're 2 days into the practice, right? So we'll document it for our listeners. Okay. You're 2 days into the practice. Okay. But that's good. That's great awareness of where you are. Okay. So we're going to continue with this. And then eventually it's going to be like, okay, now you're going to start journaling after your 5-minute practice. You're going to journal out, just listing out every thought that you can remember that you experienced. Okay? And this is the exact same process that I took to start talking to I Am. Okay? I'm not asking you to do anything different at all. Okay? So you write down all the thoughts. And then you're going to look at them and say, is this a thought that is coming from I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy? Or is this a thought that's coming from a place of like anything's possible for me? I could do something. I have unlimited possibilities are real for me. Okay. So then you're going to label them. The first kind of thought is subconscious. Second kind of thought is God. And then there's another kind of thought, which are your conscious thoughts. And that could look like, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm doing a good job right now. I'm not sure what's happening. Am I doing this right? I'll have to ask Erin when this is over, what's going on. So that's like more aware that you're in this process and things like that. So that would be labeled as conscious thought. And you do this every day for a few weeks. Just write down whatever you can remember that you were aware of during this process and then label them. And through this, you become aware almost instantly when you're having a thought. That thought's coming from God, from limitless possibilities. That thought is coming from I suck. That's not actually a true thought. That's not actually my thought. I no longer identify with that thought because I am not a limited being. I am God's source embodied. So thank you very much, thought, but I move you out. So now, when you're sitting with this space, you can recognize immediately when a thought starts to come in that's subconscious because you've been labeling them for a few weeks. You know now. You don't have to wonder, what is this? Okay, I see that. That's the kind of thought I choose not to identify with anymore. Okay, I move that out. And it's just a conscious intention. I move it out. Understanding that our words have power, our intentions have power. They are, in fact, the most powerful thing that we own. They are how we create our experience. So if you think that you are not powerful, move that out. That's not true. And create the new thought of, I choose to create that I am powerful. So it's the same thing with your thoughts. I move that out. I choose to create more thoughts that believe that I am worthy, that I am good enough. And then you're just starting to hold space as listening. And the more that you consciously move out the thoughts that are not useful or helpful to you, the more space there will be for the God thoughts. And the more that, because they're there, there's just no space for them. For every single person listening, God's already in your mind. God's already speaking to you. God has been speaking to you your entire life. Because you are God, you cannot breathe without God inside of you. So, all you have to do is recognize the thoughts that aren't God, consciously choose to move them out, which creates more space for God to be heard. And that is holding space for God.
It's a lot different than anything I've heard about like meditation before. It's like selecting what thoughts you're going to allow.
Yeah, it's recognizing, first of all, what thoughts that you're identifying with and what thoughts that you aren't, because somebody that's not consciously holding space for God's source within them is allowing all thoughts, right? So now it's just choosing. And this is the process of becoming a conscious creator. Our thoughts are what are creating our life.
Mhm.
Thoughts create energy. Energy is not the ultimate. Thoughts are the ultimate. Energy is the bridge between non-physical and physical. So it all starts with your thoughts. If you want to be a conscious creator, you must first be the creator of your inner space. So the reason why this is so different than you have heard before is because each of us has a unique purpose, a unique blueprint that we are here to bring forward for humanity. And mine is to bring forward information that unlocks God's source within you and that allows you to deeply trust that. Everyone who has come before me or who says different things than me is not wrong. They simply have a different purpose, different codes that they are meant to unlock within you. But when you're led to me, it's sort of like you have graduated. And I hear that, and that's the sort of thing it's the Erin part of me cringes, right? Because like, oh, you can't say that. You got to, like, that's ridiculous. Who are you to say that? But it's true because I'm not really Erin anymore. I'm not really. I'm someone who trusts so deeply that I am God embodied. Also, I am a soul embodied, and that I have a specific purpose, just like I know you, each of you listening, has a specific purpose. And to do that, you have to believe in your own inner magic. So you have graduated when you learn how you really operate. It's because you trusted all those other times. And it's also because you kept looking when the teacher wasn't leading you to hearing God within you. Or they didn't know how, because they weren't really doing it themselves. There are teachers that have taught similar things in different manners. My teachings come through in the way that people need during this transition from old earth to new earth. We're in a much different energetic signature than when we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. The teachings came through for the human collective at each point in humanity's ascension exactly the way they were supposed to. But if we're still looking at teachings from 15 years ago, like the law of attraction or whatever, that's even 100 years ago, then we're looking in a place that's no longer energetically relevant to where the human collective and each of us energetically is as a soul. And that's just the truth. And it's why and the problem is that we have people still teaching it because they're not trusting what they're meant to bring forward new. Right? It's like, well, I better teach this. This is what everybody believes.
So it's safe. It's safe
Yeah,
to teach that because people already accept it.
Yeah, yeah, you're not rocking any
Yeah.
boats, right? Like I have to be out there saying all kinds of crazy stuff and I'm cussing like a sailor half the time. And I just have to be cool with that, you know? But it's like and there are teachings that are timeless, that have come from the place of we are all God embodied, right? You look at Jesus, those teachings are timeless. Okay? You look at Buddha, those teachings are timeless. There are timeless teachers, and there are teachers that are for a time. And we have to have the discernment to recognize. And if we want to know what's timeless, timeless is the kingdom of heaven is within you. God is within you. You are God. You are God embodied. That's timeless because no matter, that comes from the highest truth. One truth, one law that can never be changed or recreated is I am, I create. I am God embodied. Every thought I have creates. Nothing can change that. That cannot be altered. Everything else can be recreated. And the other teachings that are coming from slightly lower perspectives or understandings are being recreated as humanity ascends. So they're simply no longer relevant. And it gets very confusing because we have all these great souls here on earth that have used these other teachings that were for a time instead of timeless, and they had great success with them. And now they're having difficulty and they're feeling frustrated. And it's like, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense. Am I not in as good of a vibration as I used to be? Is there something wrong with me? No, we need to up our discernment and understand that we're being led to higher teachings because humanity is ascending. And that's it. That's what's going on right now.
We got to keep pace.
Yeah.
Got to keep up as things are changing. So they're changing fast.
And that all, it doesn't have to be, because when I hear that, like the Erin part of me is like, oh dear, how am I going to do that? But the truth is, like, it doesn't have to be hard. That can be super easy if we're learning our own inner discernment and we're starting to trust our own inner knowing. Then, like, our own inner knowing, that light within us, the God source within us, our soul within us is always keeping us perfectly in pace. So we just have to trust, okay, what am I being led to? What am I not being led to? And go from there. And the interesting thing is, like, a lot of people are they're led to things that years ago would have felt crazy to them, but now feel like, I just can feel it's true. Right? And so can we trust the process of the universe unfolding things in divine timing for us? That if you're listening to this, you're ready to hold it. If you don't know what I'm saying right now, that's okay. It's starting to unlock within you, and in divine timing, it'll make sense. So many people talk about one truth, one law, I am, I create, and they say things like, you know what, I was guided to buy it. I knew I was supposed to buy it. And then when I got it, I couldn't even open it. So I put it on my bookshelf, and that was 2 years ago. And I just opened it last week, and I've listened to it 15 times, right? And I also get messages like, I read it 6 months ago and I couldn't understand a word you were saying, but for some reason I didn't throw it out, and I just opened it and I understood every word, and wow. And it's because both of my books, and in fact, every single time I open my mouth, because I'm always opening up a quantum field and doing all the things that I do to create this intention. But before I get on and speak or do anything like this, I am embedding codes within the work that I create so that every single person that interacts with it, whether you're on my team and you're editing for me, or you are scheduling the content, or whether you are the listener that's listening, that you're receiving energetic codes that are expanding and opening you to your next level of healing and ascension, right? So if you can't understand it today, you're opening to holding that next level version of you who can receive it. And this is so important. Like, we often think, oh, if I don't get this, I'm not good enough. And that's not true. It just means divine timing is already going, right? And there's a difference between I don't like this, this doesn't feel right to me, and I don't fully understand this yet. And we have to have the discernment there too. Like, is this a situation where I'm not called to this? Then let it go. But if it's like, I feel pulled to this, but I don't get it, we've got to trust that. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our podcast. We thank each and every one of you for spending this time with us, thanking all of the beautiful beings of the highest vibration and God source within us for assisting us here today. So much love. Thank you for joining us for the We Are All God podcast, with new episodes dropping every Sunday morning. And remember, you are more powerful than you've ever imagined.